Today, it's movie recap time for Half a Weenie, a drama movie released in 1990. The movie starts with a boy named Nora, who looks younger than he actually is. For that reason, people allow him to enter the public women's shower. However, since he is going through hormonal changes in his body, he gets increasingly curious about their bodies. Nora stares at them as his mother bathes him. Some time later, two teenage boys try their best to hit on random ladies in the market, and Nora, eager to find out how it all works, joins them. As the boys keep getting rejected, the village's sheikh shows up to break up the fun. To avoid any trouble, the kids make a run for it and manage to slip away. Afterward, they decide to scavenge for glass bottles, and Nora lends a hand in the hunt. While they're on it, Nora takes a peek through a wall and catches sight of young women doing their household chores. Once they collect enough bottles, they head over to a store to cash in. Unfortunately, Nora's friends take advantage of his age and don't share the money with him. Soon after, the store manager gives Nora a bottle of alcohol to deliver to Sally on his way. However, Nora keeps getting interrupted. First, some guy asks Nora to pick up cigarettes for him, and later, another person questions if he only works for Sally. Nora brushes them off and finally reaches Sally, who's busy crafting a shoe and humming to himself. Sally, who has a friendly smile, tells Nora that he's writing a play called Laughter in the Dark. The man then instructs Nora to leave the bag inside. As he walks inside the place, he discovers a hat and a bell. Soon, a striking woman arrives at the store. Sally introduces her as the actress for his new play. The man tells Nora he can go home, but in reality, Sally has some plans with the actress. As Nora plays with a metal toy, he overhears peculiar sounds coming from inside the store. Later on, the sheikh and Nora's father punish the boy with a stick, hitting it on his bare feet. His father is furious because Nora hangs out with those older boys who keep bothering women on the street. Eventually, Nora's aunt intervenes and stops the whole thing. His angry father declares that Nora will start working at the barber's shop the very next day. Upstairs, Nora's mother tells him a bedtime story. The tale revolves around a monstrous man who can't touch pure women or even get too close to them. The next day, Nora is seen diligently sweeping the floor of the barber shop where he now works. All of a sudden, a group of people gathers in front of the shop to protest against the government. The police swiftly intervene, arresting many protesters, and one officer enters the barber's shop. The barber inquires if he's there for a shave, but the officer is on a different mission, seeking a person named Yusuf Sultan. Soon after, Nora rushes to one of his older friends and alerts him that something bad is coming, urging him to close his shop. His friend initially ignores him, but his father soon arrives, shouting for him to shut the shop. Nora then heads home and sits beside his mother, who is getting her leg waxed. He talks about what happened at the shop earlier that day, and his mother gets scared. She tells him there's no need for him to work at the barber's shop anymore. Instead, he can help with his brother's circumcision. The following day, Nora and one of his friends are with Sally, watching him play a musical instrument and drink. The village's sheikh soon arrives and questions why Nora is in their company. Sally intervenes and engages in conversation until the sheikh drops it. Nora attempts to have a sip of alcohol, but Sally catches him and rebukes him. Shortly after, some people approach, dragging his other older friend along. They accuse him of pestering women, but Sally and other villagers come to the kid's defense. However, the crowd's attention shifts to the appearance of a pretty woman named Latifa, who happens to be related to Nora's mother. Latifa heads home and displays her recently purchased clothes to everyone. Later in the evening, Nora's father can be heard expressing his disapproval of Latifa to his wife. He dislikes her divorce status and what he perceives as her open lifestyle. However, Nora's mom persuades him, assuring him that Latifa will be helpful during their son's circumcision ceremony. The next day, Nora goes to his dad's shop and sees him flirting and touching a girl's hand. He realizes his father is not as faithful as he pretends to be. When Nora goes inside the shop, he finds some magazines featuring inappropriate pictures of women. He looks at them and steals the magazines. Nora quickly takes the magazines to his friends, who are eager to learn more about girls. They have an idea and decide to use Nora to find out more about them. They tell Nora to enter the women's public shower and look at their bodies. Nora likes the idea and asks his mother about it, who ends up agreeing with him. As soon as they get there, the manager denies his entrance, but his mother eventually convinces her, saying that he is just a kid. Successfully inside, Nora keeps looking at all the women in there and how they bathe themselves. All of them cover their private parts, and Nora remains curious. Later, he meets with his friends, who ask him how it all went. Nora does his best to describe what he saw. Not long after, Nora's aunt experiences some kind of seizure and shakes in pain. Nora and his mother hold her down while his father goes to get the shake. The family suspects an evil spirit is responsible for her troubles. The man eventually gets there and uses a stick to burn her shoulder, announcing everything will be okay from now on. Later, the sheikh introduces the family to a girl named Layla. He explains that she's an orphan who lost her family and suggests that the family should adopt her. He claims she is a beautiful girl who needs to learn household tasks. Nora observes how his mother instructs Layla in these chores, sometimes scolding her for her ineptitude and promising to teach her properly. The village's butcher calls Nora and hands him a piece of meat intended as a gift for Latifa. Nora recalls the story of the monstrous man and envisions the butcher's face as that of the creature. Concerned for Latifa's safety, he decides not to give her the gift and throws the meat away. Nora asks Latifa specifically for her chewing gum, and she gives it to him. The boy climbs onto the roof and makes his way to meet Solly and his friends. He gives the gum to Solly, who immediately puts it in his mouth. Nora then exchanges some books for a piece of Latifa's clothes. Later on, Nora watches as his father tries to inappropriately embrace Latifa. The woman instantly pushes him away, and Nora feels disappointed in his dad. Later, a group of women visit the house, and they engage in laughter and conversation. One of them playfully teases Nora, suggesting that he's the one going to be circumcised the next day. The boy becomes angry and claims to be a young man already, but the women simply laugh. Nora goes to the barbershop and lets Solly know that Latifa is not interested in him. He then returns home and participates in the family's preparations for the upcoming event. Once again, he prepares to visit the public shower, and his mother assists him to ensure a smooth entry. Inside, Nora's curiosity gets the best of him as he attempts to sneak a peek at a woman bathing. He pretends to be busy filling water while secretly looking. Unfortunately, another woman catches him in the act and becomes furious, reporting his behavior to his mother. His mom scolds him and demands that he leave right away. Once Nora gets home, he decides to avoid all the people gathered for the event. He hides, and his mother becomes worried after not locating her son. As all the men gather and settle down for the event, Layla is tasked with the mission of finding Nora. She searches all over the house but can't seem to find him. Soon, the festivities begin, and everyone starts dancing and enjoying themselves. Nora's older friends take the opportunity to try to flirt with Layla. As part of the event, Solly enters and begins singing a song, pouring out his feelings to Latifa, who is seated with other women. His song expresses his love for her despite her rejection. Latifa overhears him and also begins singing, once again rejecting Solly. Her lyrics amuse everyone. Soon after, Nora hears his brother crying as the circumcision procedure takes place. Layla eventually locates him, but Nora is fast asleep, so she decides to let him rest. By the time the boy wakes up, everyone has left. He climbs onto the roof and witnesses Solly and Latifa getting physical. As he wanders around, he glances at Layla sleeping and feels drawn to her. He moves closer to her and makes some bold moves, but Layla rolls over before he accomplishes anything. At Solly's shop, Nora watches him craft some shoes for Latifa. The woman talks about getting shoes for a wedding, hinting at getting married. Solly, however, says he doesn't work with those kinds of shoes. Eventually, Nora and Latifa return home. Nora spots some men gathered around Layla. In his mind, Nora begins to picture Layla as the pure girl and the men around her as the monstrous figures from the stories his mother tells him. Later, a group of police officers shut down an alcohol shop due to its popularity among those who dislike the government. Solly, who used to go there a lot, taunts one of the officers. In the meantime, Nora sits on a rooftop, feeling sad for being excluded from the public showers and contemplating the idea of being a grown-up. As he's about to go to bed, he finds Layla's necklace placed under his pillow. Excited, he decides to make another attempt with Layla. However, as he approaches her, she rolls over again, frustrating his efforts. The following day, Nora sees Solly drinking what seems to be cough syrup. Intrigued, he asks Solly about when a boy becomes a man. Solly responds with a cryptic smile, leaving Nora puzzled. Soon after, a visibly intoxicated Solly is guided by Nora. Along the way, they encounter a motivational message praising their president. Solly takes it upon himself to erase the existing message and replace it with his own. Once back home, Nora helps Solly settle down to sleep. As soon as Nora gets home, he once again attempts to see what the fuss is all about. However, Layla makes a sudden movement and stops him. The next day, Solly is arrested for his act of defiance against the president. As the officers take him away, Solly tells Nora to pass a message to Latifa, asking her to wait for his return. Feeling sad, Nora spends some time alone at the beach, deep in thought about what's going on in his life. As soon as he gets home, his mother insists that he join his father for a bath, but Nora refuses to go. Since his mother is adamant about him needing a bath, she asks Layla to wash his hair. While Layla is washing his hair, she accidentally gets herself wet. Nora hands her a towel and suggests she lose her clothes, as he explains that women at the public shower go like that. Layla feels embarrassed but ends up doing what he suggests. Nora then offers to give her a massage, similar to how they do at the public shower, so Layla lies down on the bench. As he begins to lower her towel, Nora's family suddenly arrives. Nora's mother gets enraged and demands that Layla pack her things and leave the house. Later on, Nora decides to see Layla before she departs. When he removes the blanket, he discovers that Layla is not wearing any clothes. She smiles at Nora and turns off the lights, which indicates that Nora finally got what he wanted. The following day, Nora cannot contain his happiness. Unfortunately, the sheikh returns to their house to take Layla back. Layla and Nora exchange some smiles before she leaves. The sheikh takes a look at Nora and declares that he has grown up. Although Nora's father attempts to punish him, Nora runs away from him with a smile on his face. It appears he really has transformed. In the last scene, his aunt also seems to experience a newfound feeling of freedom as she puts on some makeup and leaves the house. Thanks for watching. If you like our content, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe.